We're a group of Gen Xers who became aware of our neurodiversity later in life. Join us as we share stories, interesting topics, and talk to special guests. Welcome to Season 2 of This Is How My Brain Works.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another week of This Is How My Brain Works. My name is Sarah Hines, and I'm joined by Jason Rudofsky and Krista Gano. Michael Collins is taking a much-needed respite or break. And I'm here with my topic. And my topic, I think, is a really exciting and fabulous topic. I don't want to strain credulity, but I think it might be my best topic yet. So, yeah. Right. I mean, this is a big deal, y'all. This is a big deal. This topic this week, I really feel it closely in my hearts and in my minds and in my toes and in my soul. So the topic this week is the relationship between being weird AF, like me, aka ADHD, I'm guessing, or on the spectrum, and the relationship between that and conspiracy theories. And I'm just gonna maybe start you off softly, gently with what is under Denver International Airport? Do you believe that it's just tunnels for, HVAC and food services, or is there something more under DIA Denver?
What is thought to be under? I mean, I know there's I've heard that of the vibe of this, but what is supposed to be under DIA?
I mean, if it's just an airport things like rocket fuel and I don't know, trolleys.
No, but with the conspiracy piece of the puzzle, what do people think it is? What is
okay,
it?
Jason, Rudy.
No, someone tell me what is the story? What's the myth? What's under DIA? Because I don't know.
I don't know either.
What?
I mean, no, I know there's
idea.
I know there's like murals and there's Illuminati and there was a goblin that I used to talk to when I came back in town who's been unplugged, so he doesn't work anymore.
I've never even heard of it, honestly.
I know we have the blue horse with the that killed the artist before we decided to install the horse of death in front of our airport. But I mean, I know there's like Illuminati stuff. Like I know people have talked about it, but I don't know about these tunnels. What I can say about
you're
Denver,
asking like what's literally there. I don't know.
No. I'm saying like what is the thought? Like when people say, it's
the Illuminati. It's home to the Illuminati.
Oh, that is how cool are we? How fucking cool are we if that's the truth?
Stuff.
Oh, I don't know about satanic. Although the blue horse is rough.
The murals, the weird gargoyles, the secret building, the Nazi swastika runways.
What? What?
I don't know about that.
What?
Oh God! No. Now I need to go to Google Earth, right?
No, no, but I will say, in all truth, I mean, I think Denver is the place that the seat of the U.S. government comes should something happen to D.C., which is why we have our own treasury, and so there are actually tunnels and all kinds of things underneath Denver that are there specifically so that should DC have to move here, we're able to protect.
So the Illuminati is under freaking DIA, man.
Or who knows if it's the Illuminati? But I know that we are between us and the Springs. We are supposed to be the seat of the government should something happen. So we have all the infrastructure underground and whatnot to make that possible.
We fancy,
I believe.
y'all.
But I also, to talk about conspiracy theories, there was also in some of those tunnels underneath Denver, the conspiracy theory that some of the beings from Roswell, the aliens, were in a coffin under in the coffin under Denver somewhere, like under like the library or something downtown. So there was that. I've heard that too. And then once someone who was like cleaning up and organizing, like they were in some sort of storage area of an underground basement, and once that was found, it was quickly put off limits, and the coffin was relocated, is what I've heard.
Okay, Jason,
So.
you've lived here your whole life and you've heard none of this?
No, I've heard none of this, but I mean, I'm reeling right now. I'm reeling. But here's the thing. I want to go back. Just you said, what's the relationship? What's the difference between being weird and conspiracy theories? Because
No, not weird. ADHD. Do you believe
did
in
I hear
them?
weird or did I put weird? Or
I said weird AF, but then I was
because
like,
here's the thing.
sorry, I was
I
self-deprecating.
feel like there's always a story going on in my head. Always. Like if I see someone, immediately I'm making up like, oh, he just probably came from the store and he picked up, because he's going that way. And he's like, it's constant. I'm always making up a story about you sit at a table at a restaurant, you look at the other table, you're like, that's got to be the aunt because and not that that's a conspiracy theory, but my point is I'm always making up stories. But then they kind of turn into kind of conspiracy theories where you're like, well, this could have happened. And then the reason I had weird in my head, because those conspiracy theories, if uttered, out into the open, sometimes people are like, you're nuts. You're crazy. But I've heard a lot of different conspiracy theories. We used to have a guy at work who would come in and his introduction to we'd be like, go with, I won't mention his name. Go with this guy out on the course and he'll show you some things. And the way he would introduce himself to the person he was riding with in the cart would be like, you into conspiracy theories? And
that's the intro.
And you'd be like, well, what do you got? He's like, do you know that Kobe Bryant's helicopter was shot down? And they know this because, and it would go on. And then another guy at work was like, you know that the earth is flat. All the pilots know that the earth is flat. The pilots even say it. Why, when you fly a plane, and he's giving me all the angles of a plane, and because it flies like this, and, why does it not curve? Why is it always straight? And, I'm being fed a lot of this. And and I'm just like, okay.
I'll tell you right now, Jason, my brother's a pilot and he has never questioned the shape of the earth. So I'll just say that.
I mean, there are other things that I question but I don't know Illuminatis and aliens in coffins and
I think it's really interesting because first of all, like because I'm ADHD as well. So, but my oldest, as we all know, besties. But my oldest, as we all know, is like straight down the autism spectrum. And he is so skeptical of everything.
Right.
Like just very much like, absolutely not. That's ridiculous. And I have to say, I think I balance between being a healthy skeptic and also just going like, but there's totally aliens. Like, you know what I mean? Like, or if you came out and said ghosts and fairies and, leprechauns are real, I'd be like, totes, I feel it in my bones, and so it is, I think there's this,
I just want to remind
of being magical that I think we do have with our brains. That there's
and that's but the
that I said this was going to be my best topic ever.
Well, here's the skeptic in me. The skeptic in me is always skeptical of any situation or certain people I'm skeptical of immediately, in trying to sort of diagnose who they are. There's skepticism in someone telling me a story that they heard a pilot, and this pilot, said that the earth was flat, and he knows this because, I mean, so
did he bump into the edge?
So that's why I said in the beginning, like, I don't know what's real anymore.
Well, I think that is a big, there's a plan for us to be that confused, I think. In the modern information age. But I also
back up.
Well, I don't want to talk politics, but I think that there has been a concentrated effort to throw untruths around so frequently that we do start to go, I don't know what is true and what is not. And so and the truth is like sometimes I go like what you were saying with Kobe Bryant, that guy. So sometimes I just want to go like, sometimes the stuff is just the thing. Like there is no extra stuff. Nobody was trying to do extra things. Sometimes it is the thing. But then you have all of this stuff coming out right now through Hollywood and some of the things we're hearing about and all of that stuff that seems so exorbitant and horrible, and things that we would have for years been like, come on, that wasn't happening at those parties or whatever. And now it's coming to light, right? And now it's really coming to light. And so it does make you question, like, what have I what have I not seen? And then, of course, from an astrology standpoint, this is supposed to be like the age of Aquarius, where all of that shit does come to a head. And I've never been a huge believer in that stuff until recently, where I cannot look at it and look at what they've been saying over the past couple of years, and look at what they're looking at in the next couple of years, and deny that there is some really big things that are true about, or that they're saying that overlie with now the truth of what's happening. So it's hard. Like, and I want to live in a world that's actually a bit magical. So I think,
yes.
so I love, so
oh,
I,
yes.
I mean, do I really want to like bump up against an actual vampire? Maybe not. They're way more fun, I think, on screen, but, but I don't know. I mean, who knows? And I am going to be one of those people who says that I think it's absolutely crazy of us, incredibly narcissistic, to think that in this entire universe upon galaxy that we keep seeing out in the world, to think that we're the only ones.
Oh,
I think
of
that's
course.
crazy pants.
Oh my God.
so
Yeah.
I can't, and I think that there's plenty of evidence to show that they're here. So yeah, there you go. There's my crazy.
No, I so agree with that. I so agree. I can't, there's so much going on right now in my head that I don't even know where to start, but I so agree with that. The one thing I was just going to say is that Lisa, I've often told her that she was sent here. And I do believe, I feel like she was
Be
sent
an angel?
like an angel, dropped off for a certain purpose. She is, people just start talking to her. She'll sit on a bus and people just they will just divulge everything. She's like, oh, I met someone and we talked for an hour about that. I mean, everywhere she goes, people just feel like they
I think that's an ADHD thing.
They just tell her everything.
I've read recently that's an ADHD thing.
She is very, and especially since our son passed away, a little more so, I'd say, she is very in tune to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Very in tune to the next level. He comes to her very, I don't want to say dramatically, but he comes in various forms. He does things here in the house, and we know.
Give me an example.
A bird flying into the window for no reason. The hawks, not the hawks, the crows surrounding the house and squawking for an hour, 2 hours. Especially when it's birds, I feel him. When he passed, the very next day, there was a moment with a bird, and it's always been, he comes every morning to me when I'm on the golf course in form of a bird, and I say hello, and that's it. Lisa could really expound on all the things, but it's very real.
Well, here's the thing about that.
I've started to see it, but for her, he'll open a door. She's like, that door just opened. It's cold. Yeah. It just opened.
I think that,
and
I mean, the human brain in general is we make meaning out of things. I mean, that's what we do, right? Like the human brain makes meaning out of things. But I think that in the instance that you're talking about, and maybe with being neurodivergent and more sensitive to energies, I mean, I think in general, I mean, when think about all the sensitivities we have about whether it's sensory, just the sensory stuff that we have going on, that we're just more sensitive. So I think that, you know, everyone who I've heard speak about the afterlife or all of that pretty much says, if you have a strong feeling that is what's happening, that is what's happening. Right? Like that's like, if you're feeling it or you're thinking it, like that's what it is. And whether it's someone can look at you and go, oh, your brain is just making meaning of something. It kind of doesn't matter, because if you have that vibe, then that's what you're feeling. And I think we do, perhaps as under the sensory umbrellas that we are under, we just feel it more intensely. Yeah, we have a different, you know, it's like I can feel energy like that in a room, and I can feel my own energy shift in a room. I knew when we had a hold up in my project, I felt it Saturday at 2 p.m. It was a Saturday at 2 p.m. and I literally looked up and went, something shifted. We're not starting production in the day I thought. And I literally called Laura and I said, I felt it. And then nothing happened. We didn't hear anything. And then on Tuesday, our producer called and said, we had a delay. We're going to have to shift. And I said, when did you find out? And he goes, oh, I found out Saturday afternoon, but I didn't want to tell you because I wanted you to have a good weekend. And I was like, what time? I mean, I knew. And I know that sounds crazy, but it was if this little spot in my heart, just sort of the door closed, and not forever, but just sort of like, I was like, oof. The energetic sands just shifted. And I know people listening to this might be like, these people are like nutballs. But I do think that when you're highly sensitive, which comes in forms of all kinds of things, in terms of, I cannot go to an arcade because it's too much. I cannot be, you know, like and the older I get, I think the more sensitive I get. And I think that expands beyond, I just can't be in a public place where it's busy, into I can feel a lot of other things that people may not feel.
You know what's interesting? When I was at the restaurant, we had over 25 years, right? So many customers and a lot of repeat customers and a lot of good friends, people we made friends with. There'd be times where I have a lot of stories, but there were times where I would think of someone, like I haven't seen so-and-so in so long.
They'd come in.
And within 1 or 2 days they'd be in. And the waitresses and I would, you know, we'd say, we haven't seen so-and-so, and I just thought about him. And I had a couple of waitresses like, he's going to be in a couple of days, or I just saw him, or I had a lot of those, almost a manifestation. I remember telling someone a story. Here's a good one. I told someone a story, and this is about energy, but where is it coming from and how does it happen? But I was telling someone a story about a book I had to read between 8th and 9th grade. It was called Blue Highways. It was a huge, thick book that a guy wrote about taking the back roads across America to learn about, and this is probably in the 60s. But anyway, a week later, my dishwasher walks in the back door at 6 o'clock in the morning with the book, Blue Highways. Did he hear me talk about the book, Blue Highways? No, he has no idea. I said, where'd you get that? He said, oh, as I walked down to work, I found it in a free library. I said, I haven't spoke of this book, talked about this book in probably 15, 20 years. And I literally just told someone about this book less than a week ago. And you're now bringing this book in. That hit me. I'm trying to figure out, I was walking, I thought of someone in my head. I literally turned around. She was right there in front of me. And I flipped out right in front of her. I said, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? I said, I didn't see you come in. What? She's like, I was in the bathroom. I literally just thought, like her image into my head. I turn around, she's right in front of me.
So I have a
Can
question.
you explain that to me?
Well, I think synchronicity is
Yes.
energy and synchronicity. There's a lot of theories around that. But I have a question for you all. So what do you all think about the Mandela effect? Sarah, you
Butterfly.
brought this up and now you've been eating the popcorn and watching us just spin. So
I
now,
know.
lady, what do you think about the Mandela effect?
So is that the butterfly beats its wings and a hurricane happens?
No, that's the idea that that in our version of this earth, that there was something that happened in the 80s that caused us to jump timelines or need to jump timelines. The theory or the conspiracy theory around it is that it could have been perhaps a reset because we actually got closer to in the Cold War to nuclear war than we thought, and so there was a shift, and in that shift, things are slightly different. So that I think we've talked about on a previous episode. So like some people think it's the Berenstain Bears, some people think it's the Berenstain Bears. Oscar Mayer, the song is different than we remember it. Like if you can go back and search some things that we all as Gen Xers have full memories of things, but if you go back and search it, it is different than what we as a generation remember. And there is the idea
There's the
that there was
Berenstain Bears.
No, what they say it's the Berenstain Bears.
They do now?
Yes.
But even how it's spelled would be Stein, because
The difference it is
What?
spelled
I am
differently.
so scared right now. I can't even tell you.
I don't know anything about
What is
this.
going on?
I was actually about to comment back on what we
my belief, and I'm just gonna, and I'll be quiet after
look it up.
this. My belief is that the Earth was set up as a game, and that I just feel like
sorry, Bernstein now.
they're like, it's a game, and we're gonna throw new things in this game to make it more enjoyable for us. We need, let's make this because it'll create havoc. Let's make this and see how they react to that. And it's like they're just looking down and messing with us, I feel like.
So here are some examples. The Mr. Monopoly, did he wear a monocle or not? The Monopoly guy. Yes, no.
No.
They say he doesn't. No, they say he didn't. I remember him did. Curious George. Most people remember Curious George as having a tail, but he's tailless. He is not. He has tail. Jif peanut butter. Many people think the peanut butter is called Jiffy, but it's actually Jif.
Is that like Porsche and Porsche?
So the Snow White one, in the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the evil queen says what? What does the evil queen say in Snow White to the mirror?
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?
Who's the fairest?
Magic mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? That's what it says it is now. And so there are, you can look 54 Mandela effect examples that will make you question everything. And the reason why it's called the Mandela effect is because it is the origin is that the Mandela effect is called that because Nelson Mandela, who this theory is named after, died in 2013. However, many people remember him dying in the 1980s in prison. So there's all of these things.
He got
Captain
really
Crunch.
sick in prison. I know that.
Yeah, but there's all these things. Captain Crunch versus Cap'n Crunch. Snoopy's tail, Tony, there's just all of these things.
What about those? What is the gist?
That they're different, that we remember them different. Like Sinbad never played the genie in Shazam. I remember Sinbad being in a movie called Shazam. Where he plays genie, but
is someone saying that it wasn't or it isn't?
Yeah.
Or
no, we're saying that there are people like us. Like I think I could probably go find a Curious George book that I have for my kids that show him having a tail because it was my childhood book.
Right.
But now if you were to go look at what it is now, they would say he doesn't have a tail. So there is this idea that there was this timeline shift in the 80s that happened that was just these slight differences that happened when that timeline shift happened. So it is crazy. It is. I mean, like, go look at it. Like, it's literally like,
Sarah. I'm blaming Sarah.
How is Looney Tunes spelled? How's tunes spelled in Looney Tunes?
Looney.
Yeah, and then tunes.
Got a
Tunes.
C now.
No,
Tuns. Oh no, Toons.
no, we remember it. I remember it's TOONS,
Right.
but it's TUNES. Is what they say it is, but I don't remember that. I remember TOONS. So there's theories around this, around how, you know, we all remember the same things because it starts to be groupthink. I say, this is how I remember it. You say, oh my gosh, me too. And then when this difference comes up, but there are people, when you go, and if you go down this rabbit hole, like on TikTok or whatever, that they can show you, like they can show you their Looney Tunes something memorabilia from when they were kids. And they can, because they have it, because it's physical. And so it is, so the Mandela effect is, I think, is a great example of this conspiracy idea that is interesting. I'm surprised you guys have never heard of it.
I had forgotten it because it seems so wacky that I don't believe it, but I feel you.
So it's not the Berenstain Bears, or Stein, EIN. It's the Berenstain Bears, AIN.
What?
No.
I'm
What
so
they
angry
say.
with both of you. First of all, for you, Sarah, even saying conspiracy theory in the introduction, and then Krista, you now following up with all this, and I'm
gonna drop it like it's hot. You ready? I don't really know.
Oscar Mayer or Oscar Mayer?
Oscar Mayer had a little wheat dog.
No, they say it's Oscar Mayer, Mayer. And I remember Oscar Mayer.
Well, yeah. Mayer.
Meyer.
Oops,
See, I
sorry.
did Meyer. My
Is that why
baloney
the
has a
80s
hold
were
on,
so-
sing the song. My baloney has a first name, it's OSCAR. My baloney has a second name, it's MEYER.
Mayer.
Oh, I did MEYER. That's what
M.A.
I did.
I did MA.
Okay.
If I
So
had an
that's-
Oscar Mayer wiener.
You know what?
Everyone would be in love
Thankfully,
with
I
me.
mean, I love the 80s. Maybe that's why. Maybe they threw in a lot of fluff in the 80s to confuse us, and then had this shift, like, we got to do this shift now at some point in the 80s. So let's make it all fluffy. Let's introduce the Go-Go's and Devo. Let's you know what I'm saying? And let's get crazy.
And that one glove, y'all. Which hand was it on?
Right.
All right. Well, we have 5 more minutes. And so
Okay,
I'll
so
let
can I
someone
drop it
else.
like it's hot now?
It was a reversible.
No,
It was reversible. I think it was on his left hand.
I think you're right. All right, can I drop it like it's hot now?
Yeah.
With that, I won't ask any more questions.
Yeah.
All right. So
Oh my gosh.
I used to think, like Krista says, that some of what was going on for me in terms of picking up on the energies around the world, around me, what was going, knowing things before it would happen, was more that we're thinking, you know, that whole thing they said, you're using 10% of your brain at any given time and you're not using 100% of it. So I just chalked it up, that like knowing that would happen for me as, well, my 90% of the brain was thinking while I wasn't aware of it, and it spit the answer out into my 10%. Is kind of how I just rationalized all of the stuff, where I'd walk into a room and know something was off, or have a feeling, or, you know, even your examples, Jason, I for a long time would have just said, those are, your pattern recognition is hella strong and your memory is really strong. And so what's happening when you think of a customer who, and this is what I used to think, so don't argue, like I'm not trying to argue with you now, but those people would come in and your brain would be like, or they hadn't come in, your brain would be like, I remember Charlie comes every 3 months, so where's Charlie? And then inevitably Charlie would come in. That to me can be explained by that 90% of your brain doing some work while the 10% isn't really aware of it and just gets the answer. Until the night before September 11th, 2001. And I was in my second year of law school. It was the beginning of the semester, so I was on top of all my classes. Everything was peachy freaking keen. Amazing day. Not even amazing, totally just mundane day, Tuesday or whatever it was, Monday. And I had therapy. And at therapy, Aaliyah had died the week before, the singer, and she was really, 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 really afraid of planes and didn't like to fly in planes. And they made her fly in the plane. And so in therapy, I'm talking about her, and I was like, I'm really hit really hard by Aaliyah's death. Like, this is really awful. Like, oh my God, she died And there's this part of my brain that has magical thinking that wants to be like, she knew. And I say all this to my therapist, and I expect the clinical, psychiatrist, doctor response to be, don't be a schizophrenic, don't be a magical thinker. And instead he says, yeah, we have to trust our gut. She probably was clued into something. Mind blown, totally like, I did not expect that answer. Go home, go to bed. And I was also a bit tubby in law school. I really liked the vending machine, as they call them. And so I couldn't do a sit-up to save my damn life. This is going somewhere, I promise. Stay with me, y'all. I know we only have 5 minutes. I'm stretching. No, just kidding. So anyway, I couldn't do sit-ups. I go to lay down, and I turn out my light next to my bed, and I go to lay down. And as soon as my head hits the pillow, I have a vision of blood and a feeling of terror so strong that I did a sit-up. Might have been my first one in my life at 20-something years old. So I sit up and I'm like, boop, boop. And I reach under my bed for my journal, and I go to write it down, and I decide not to memorialize this vision of blood and the feeling of terror. But those were the first words I was going to write. I remember that part because the next morning was 9/11, and I'm sitting in front of my TV watching a vision of blood and a feeling of terror. And 2 hours in, I realized that what I had experienced the night before was exactly the feelings that I had as I watched those Twin Towers, and I watched them collapse. I mean, it was, yeah. So anyway, 2 weeks, 2 weeks later, I'm like, this is horrible. Is this something psychic? So I say, to kind of like out loud alone at my house, hey, God, was this you? Like, why did I see this? Like, did you actually show me something? And I go downstairs to my bedroom, which was downstairs, and immediately on my ceiling is the sound of like horrific, like crazy thunder or something. I run upstairs, and it's the first of many seizures that my dog started to have as he was on his way out of life. But it was the first. Mm-hmm. So they hadn't been going on. They weren't something that I was aware of as a thing. But I asked, hey, God, is this you? Anyway, so I don't know. I don't know what any of this means, but I have a lot.
I think there are a lot of people who had visions of 9/11 or had things happen. I know tons of people who got off planes who, like
I have a better, actually,
if you
even
watch Come From Away, they did some of that stuff too.
In this vision,
yeah, I think it's real.
I looked at my clock, and it says 10:18 p.m. that I have this vision. A few years later, one of my good friends from high school has moved to San Francisco where I was living, and she had been in New York for 9/11. And she had placed a call to her very best childhood friend in San Francisco because she had had a nightmare of a vision of blood and a feeling of terror nightmare, and had used the phone at 1:18 a.m. New York time, which would be 10:18 San Francisco time, to tell her friend where I was, but on a phone line, not at my house, this thing that I had.
And the thing that I would love to add is we're sort of heading out, because I feel it on my heart to add it, and I know people from my church listen to this podcast, is I do not think that any of this is separate from God. And
and God gave me a seizure in my dog. So
right. I do think, yes, I do think that there's this idea that if you believe in some of the stuff that you somehow, you can't, that can't coexist with any sort of faith life. And I just want to push against that and say, absolutely.
Well, what about
I think that's
prophets?
crazy.
Prophets,
exactly.
Totally.
And also, I mean, even
they were ADHD too.
And in the Bible, what does the Bible say that you're looking for signs from God? You're supposed to look up to the sky. What else is like astrology and all of this stuff? You know what I mean? Like, I think,
or birds.
Or birds. I think there are signs everywhere. I think our brains are meant to make meaning out of things. And I also think that sometimes famous people just die and it's not, and nobody was behind it. Like, I think it's both. And I don't know. And in saying that,
just kidding.
I'm not, well, that's, I I'm
I
not,
don't know
what
anything. I have no
I-
facts. That was just a weird
I'm just
statement.
saying that I don't know about, I heard another conspiracy theory today about Anne Heche, so I don't really know how that works with Aaliyah or, you know,
Oh,
Kobe
and her
Bryant
crash.
or Anne Heche at all. But I will say that in all of those celebrity things that you go like, you know, I mean, look, Matthew Perry passed, and we now know that when people were screaming conspiracy, it's true, they've arrested people. So, you know, they've arrested people for his death. And so I think, you know, gosh, we do have to, I think you have to have out of the box thinkers to say, I see it differently, and maybe we should look at something, you know, turn the box on its side and think differently about it. And I think sometimes the truth is just the truth and it's simple. So I think it's both,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Well, speaking of controversies and
Well, we only have 2 more
conspiracy
minutes,
theories,
so you're gonna
9/11
lock
is
it down.
huge, right?
Oh, well,
Oh,
absolutely.
no, right?
I mean, and what about them filming
The moon
the mission
landing?
to the moon?
Well,
Did they really go to the moon?
Did you see Fly Me to the Moon? The show, the movie that came out, it's super cute. If you haven't seen it, it's great. And my friend Jim Rash is in it. And it's, so if anyone hasn't seen it, you should rent it. I don't know where it is now, but you
Your
should watch
friend
it.
who
It's
is in it?
Jim Rash. He's in Fly Me to the Moon. It's so cute.
Yay, Jim.
Yeah. And so, but it's sort of them saying we have to film a moon landing in case it doesn't work. Like in case those guys die up there, we don't want to fail. So we're going to film. So they take the conspiracy and turn it on its head a little bit and play with it. But it's a really cute film, actually. So,
Ooh, I like that theory.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
sounds
it's
cute.
really
That they
I like it.
actually did film something they had to in case it didn't work. And they
because
didn't want
because they didn't want Russia and everybody to think that we
oh
couldn't
my
do it.
God.
So so watch it. It's really cute. And so they hire that's Jim's role. They hire a big Hollywood director to come in and do it. And it's sort of,
Where can I watch it?
I don't know. Let me look it up real quick. I don't know, actually. I really don't. It was in theaters. I'm sure it's someplace else now. Let me look really quick. See if I
Well, we
can-
could probably put it in our show notes.
Well, and the truth is, as being sort of, you know, freer thinkers, I think, and we think outside the box a lot, that to utter, you know, some of that skepticism or conspiracy theory sort of ideas, you know, there was a time where I didn't, you know, I didn't want to say things that I kind of felt like I was feeling, or like this happened or this happened, because a lot of times people are like, you're crazy, you're weird, and you're crazy, and you're nuts.
Yeah.
Because you
Well,
have
sometimes that stuff comes true. So Fly Me to the Moon is on Apple TV, I think, and also Amazon Prime. You can just sort of Google it and find it. It was on Netflix. I think it got moved around. So just you can find it, but it is streaming.
Thank
and
you.
It's super cute. Yeah, and I think you're gonna take us out. Well, I let us go 5 minutes longer than normal. So
Ooh, we're fancy because it was the world's best topic by me.
and there's still more to talk about, actually.
I know,
Probably.
right? I kind of want to talk about how mushrooms talk to each other and what are they really doing?
Well, or trees. I mean, have you seen those people that when you talk to trees, they'll with no wind, their leaves will flutter?
No. Oh my God,
Yeah.
deep
Or a
dive.
branch
There
will
is such
lift.
a
Friday
thing-
afternoon.
there is such like a
Tequila
current going through
shots.
my body. I'm scared to walk outside now.
But I just think that we are all connected in this world. It's all
Yes,
energy.
we
We're all
have
connected.
something.
And to act as if we're somehow separate, better, or other is, I
Very
think
silly.
is really silly. So
So on
right.
that note, we hope you have a fabulous weekend. We appreciate you and hope that, life is a blessing. So enjoy it.
all right.
If you like this episode of This Is How My Brain Works, please like, subscribe, and share. If you'd like more info on the hosts, guests, and topics, check out the show notes. Thanks for listening.